actually just gonna sit over there. I guess.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Open mic
Yeah,
night,
okay.
come on.
That sounds pretty nice.
We're taking them out so we can.
We do
Like a
have
J-Lo
little-
headset.
Hey, what happened to the camera that like followed us?
We brought that to the GSPOR.
There's one up there.
No, they had one in the middle of the
It's an
table.
OLED.
Uh,
For ALC. So
Yeah,
we're
we had a-
deciding on if we want to get.
That thing that had in the middle of the ALC.
He was.
I'm gonna set this here.
okay. I'm going to repeat what we just said to you guys because there may be people listening or people that are going to play this back. So what we're asking everybody that's been participating in this class, whether you've been once or you've been the entire time, to give us a report, and you don't have to put your name at it. You can either fold up your piece of paper and drop it off with us today, or you can drop it off at our office upstairs any point this next week, because we're trying to get a running total of how much cumulative wealth we're helping this class build as a group. And so some of the ways that we're working on building our wealth are A, B, and C. So on your paper, just go ahead and put an A, a B, or a C. The A should be how much debt have you eliminated as a result of participating in this class and everything that you're learning in your journey this year. B, how much has your monthly cash flow increased? So did you buy an investment property that you're cash flowing $200 a month, $2,000 a month, whatever you feel like your monthly cash flow increase has become as a result of the class, put that number there. And then C, go ahead and put down how much a guesstimate of your net worth increase has been as a result of participation. And then what we're going to do for the next time we meet is we're going to announce some group totals and celebrate everybody's success together. And here's the really cool thing about this. For the people that are focusing on this, this is real value in a brokerage. Most brokerages in this area do not sit and help their people achieve financial freedom so they can get out of the rat race. They would love for them to be trapped in their 9 to 5 for the rest of their life. And that is not the KW business model. KW is about personal growth, business growth, helping people around you grow, lifting each other up. And so that is tremendous when it comes to thinking about your passive income and your profit share tree. Zach is like profit share king and investment king, but he purposefully has been working to build his profit share tree. How much is your monthly profit share up to? Yeah. Could you use an extra $2,000 just rolling in? And guess what? When he retires, that money's going to keep rolling in. If he died, he could pass it along to his children, right? It's willable, right?
It'd be big, deep.
And it's willable, right? So
That's in my, it's like, yeah, when I did my trust and everything, it's weird.
yeah. So
I hate to say it, but I don't really even put a lot of effort into. But once you, then they'll do the same thing, and then it just
yeah.
organically grow. Yeah.
Mhm.
Which I've not gotten
Yeah.
there yet. I think I'm 6. I think I got,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know, or maybe more than that.
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
That gets paid on everything I do.
Yeah.
And now everything Tish and Tim do. Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know Zach when
Yeah.
I.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really exciting and something not to be forgotten, because if people say, well, I can't build wealth because I don't have down payments for investment property. Well, guess what? This is where your down payment for your investment property could come from. Could you build yourself a profit share tree? Can you be recruiting? Everybody can and should be recruiting to our brokerage. we have got the best thing going in real estate. Not only do we have a phenomenal market center with amazing leadership at top levels who are willing just to open up their playbook and show you how to run your business, we have good, strong support for individual agents. And we have Gary Keller at the helm, who is fighting for agents in industry where a lot of brokerages are going to die. And that's just it's the sad truth of it, but it is what it is. And he is giving us every advantage to succeed with the changing market. Anything you want to say about that?
No, you said it. I don't even know. Yeah, there's nothing else for me to say.
Yeah, build your profit share tree. And I'm saying that, and I'm thinking in my head, Amy, you really need to get with building your profit share, because I only have a couple people. And honestly, it took me, when I first came over to KW, I didn't want to recruit hard because I felt guilty, because I had friends at my other brokerage. And they were all like, oh, if you go to KW, you're going to start recruiting. And I'm like, that's not me. I'm not a recruiter. But now I believe in this company so much. And I'm so blessed by the things that it's done for my life that I want to see other people get that too. And so when you're coming from a place of contribution, you want that. You want people to
That's what
join
it
you.
is. It's not selling. Do we have anything to offer that could help them grow? And it's not like, hey, come over here.
Hmm.
It's like,
Right.
are we a match for each other? Could you get something out of it if you were relationship to where they trust you?
My best friend joined this brokerage a couple months ago, and I didn't even think about downline because it's my best friend, and I wouldn't even part of what I was thinking about. And all of a sudden, I received a check, and I was like, "Huh, what's that from?" And I look, and I was like, I did the math like roughly, and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." Like he made quite a bit of money on his closings that he did. So, like you guys said, it's a benefit to them, and that was the immediate thing that I thought of, because I forgot to even name me as a sponsor, because I knew he was going to, if he was going to bring anybody over. But so yeah, I just thought it was kind of cool when you see it, you can always relate it back to you're benefiting, yes, which is great. They're going to have far more benefit than whatever downline check you received, and it costs them nothing to do it as well. It doesn't cost them any more to pay you. So it was kind of cool for me to see that with quite honestly, like my best friend. So it's cool.
So invite them to these. This is not KW specific. If you invite them to our wealth building classes or any of the training, really talk to the market center, of course, for some of the other trainings, and say, would it be appropriate for me to invite someone? But if you can show people the value, you don't have to ask them to join. They're going to ask, where do I sign up? This is something I want to be a part of, right? But these are always open to people from other brokerages if they want to join us. Anything you want to add? They're just staring at me. Okay. My thought was we could talk about Mega Camp, because it's phenomenal and another reason that people belong at KW. So there was a couple things in Mega Camp, that the one about the profit share that really struck my brain. The one lady that they interviewed, they told her, she said the way that she started investing in real estate was through her profit share. She was getting to a place where she was getting about $2,000 a month, and she used that money to start accumulating her rental portfolios. So that would be something too, like take your money and make your money work for you. Don't just say, oh, my paycheck went up, so now I can buy a new car, right? But you invest in something that's going to bring you a greater return down the road. But I don't know, did you guys get to watch the one on Diamonds in the Rough? Yes. Okay.
Our focus this year on Mega Camp was definitely more on the expansion side of things, and then the ancillary businesses that they're working with. So I can't even think of what it's called right now, but KW is doing a program with Cody, and it's all geared towards expansion. And I just completely forgot the abbreviations because there's too many of them in KW. But that was our main focus, and it was not because of profit share and but it's a monthly cash flow. If we take our business and duplicate it somewhere else, then that's not even duplicate it. Really, if you get out of Springfield, you have a higher price point, unless you go to Joplin, and that's about the only place in the US that you can have a less price point than we have. So that's kind of a focus for us as we move forward. And that was the big focus for us as we were in Mega Camp this year.
Say something?
I don't have anything to say on
Exactly.
that.
I'm not going
I
to comment
didn't
on that.
see it, so I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, so there was a class called Diamonds in the Rough, uncovering investment deals in the market of the moment. And I thought this would be a really good one to talk about, because a lot of people may say right now, prices are too high, there are no deals to be found right now. And that is just not true. So I enjoyed some of the things that they had to say about there are places to find deals, but it's not probably going to be on your MLS. However, if you know what it is you're looking for, and you can get really hyper specific and you can have clarity around what it is you're looking for, then of course watch the MLS. And when it shows up, be prepared to pay even overbid to get it. But when you have that focus and here's my price point, here's what my return is going to be if I can find this, when it shows up, then you go in strong for it.
I forgot about that class, obviously, but Wes and I bought a property from one of our clients who is an investor and a wholesaler. He had it, couldn't close on it, so he called us and said, do you have anybody who can close immediately? I think he had 10 days. So we said, yeah, we'll get it done. We bought it. He made $6,000, something like five or I don't remember what he got, but he made some money just for finding the deal. Because we paid him more than he obviously bought it for. And then we put it on the MLS, and an appraiser who's an investor bought it. So he's going to be relatively conservative on his numbers as well, just by the nature of his field, and he's going to make money. So the deals are there. You just, like she said, you have to know exactly what you're looking for, be pinpointed on that, and be digging in every day to it. I think Zach's a good example of the other side of it, right? Let everybody know that you're looking, and you probably get not too many deals, but you get tons of emails and texts about deals that are worthless. But if somebody didn't know that you were looking for it, you wouldn't get any of the good ones either.
Yeah, and I'm happy to get the calls and text messages. I mean, even if it is a waste of time, it just shows that they're thinking of me, and that's what matters. That's what matters the most. So, yeah.
The other thing I'll say is Zach's a good resource. So let's say, for instance, Zach knows that you're looking for something. If he gets a deal across his desk and he decides to pass on it, he'd probably much rather hand it off to somebody in our group that's looking and say, hey, here's an opportunity. I don't want it. It doesn't fit what I'm looking for, but it might fit what you're looking for. So if you have something specific in your head and you know what it is you're looking for, tell everybody, tell other agents. I mean, that's how Blake got all his duplexes, because he was really, really specific about, I want to be in this area and this is what I'm looking for. And there was another agent and another brokerage that called him. And so he got them off market before they hit the MLS. Had they hit the MLS, he would have been in a bidding war with people. Uh-huh. Yeah, but you can't just say, I'm looking for investment property, except for if you're Zach. But you need to be specific. Like,
I've said it though. I say it every 2 weeks in an email on Facebook, and I've done it for 5 years.
right.
So it's just repetitive over and over and over. Yeah, you can't say it one time and
Mhm,
what's that?
You're still emailing us less than
Yeah.
mhm,
Better step my game up.
mhm.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
The other thing that really struck me was, and I'm watching this happen in my life, and I think you guys could probably both say the same thing, is once you get clarity on what it is you want, it will show up. Until you have that clarity, you might not see all the opportunities that are presenting themselves in front of you.
For sure.
Um, you get, you.
Well, what do you, it's like, what do you want?
Mhm.
You know, like,
Yeah.
what's your goal? Is it, you know, what would be your goal? Is it, you know, are you trying to pay down some debts? So you need, you know, chunks of cash. So maybe like wholesale something or flip something, you know, or are you looking for cash flow? You know, you want to buy good solid rental, or are you looking for both? You know, are you looking just any opportunity that makes sense? You know, that's
Think about what you enjoy. So Linda McKissick, who's one of the authors of the Hold book, and she owns tons of investment properties. And she actually has a ton of Airbnbs. She was one of the speakers on that Diamonds in the Rough, Uncovering Investment Deals. And she had a couple quotes that I wrote down that were so good. But she said, do what you enjoy or you won't keep doing it. So if flipping is not for you, don't focus on looking for flips. If landlording is not for you, don't look for things to landlord. But there's so many different avenues to commercial property and investing in real estate. You know, you could buy, if you just want just the business side of it and the numbers, you can find cash flowing strip malls or, you know, business rent to businesses. If you are super artsy craftsy, you love decor, you love making people feel like they're at home, you can do what Tish and Tim are doing. You know, they bought a cute house, they're fixing it up, they're making it adorable, and they're going to put it probably on Furnished Finder to rent to traveling nurses. Tish is a hostess. That's her thing. She loves it. So find what it is that you love and then start focusing on that and get real clear on the areas, what area you want to be in.
To Zach's point too, what do you need? What do you need at that time? Do you need to pay off debt,
Mhm.
or do you need a bigger down payment for the property that you really want to get? Right? We're not going to just walk in and have the $100,000 to have your dream property that you're going to hold forever. So accruing those resources, there's plenty of ways to do that. We have, I mean, wholesaling right now is in this market. It seems like it's just everybody is doing it. And there, some of them are doing it pretty well. Some of them are running into their own issues on it. Right? It's very difficult as a real estate agent to do it the conventional way of wholesaling. Because as an agent, you have to actually close on it legally, close or be able to have those funds. To be careful of signing a contract like a wholesaler would. But if you have like we have clients that are wholesalers. They are sending out letters, postcards. They're the ones that have we buy houses stapled up onto signs everywhere. And they're getting distressed properties. They're getting estate sales, or not estate sales, but estate properties. They're getting anything that, I mean, honestly, it's probably, most of them are trashed out most of the time, not always. And they're just basically putting it on the market, whether it's to other investors. If they work with a real estate agent, then those agents are putting it on the market for them. And they're, most of the time, they're either not even closing on the property and they're reassigning the contract, or they're doing a double close. So they find a new buyer, they own the property for 20 minutes, and they buy it for, we'll say easy numbers, they buy it for 100, they sell it to the investor for 120. The difference in the closing costs, they just walked away with an $18,000 check for literally finding somebody else to buy it. Or you get stuck with it and you have to close on it and you hope that you have those funds.
Yeah, you go into it.
There's a risk reward for sure.
I mean, I would never sign a contract unless I'm prepared to buy it. And if I assign the contract, great, but I'm always going to follow through with the contract, which is
That's where the
what,
wholesalers are having issues.
yeah, a lot of them,
They
they'll
can't
sign
run
it, but then
themselves.
they have no intention of following through with it, but the seller thinks that they are. And unless they find somebody like me or Josh or Amy to buy it, or you guys, they have no ability to close on it, which is terrible business. So the idea is you just have to identify something as a great value, and then you're either going to sell it for more, sell your contract to somebody for whatever the amount is that you want, or you're going to close on it and just immediately list it and sell it without doing anything, which is nice. Sometimes you sell yourself short though. You know, you make 10 or 15,000 quick. That's great. But now you've got capital gains taxes, right? Maybe that property would have been better to just hold on to it, clean it up a little bit and rent it out and make 400 or 500 a month, you know, for the next however long. So it's just another way to generate income. It's not right or wrong. It's just a tool to make money.
He has one that he essentially is doing that with because he needs the cash to prepare to put into a property and not expecting to get it back right away. He's wanting to buy investment properties that aren't going to be, you know, he's not going to flip and pull the money back out. And he's like, I need to buy or wholesale or flip something quick. I need the cash now to put it into a property and have a long-term return. That's, I think, a lot of it, what you're seeing, a lot of their end game. Most of these wholesalers, they're holding a lot of properties as well because they work hand in hand. So it's just getting the cash flow or the cash now instead of on a monthly basis. It's just like a quicker flip. It's a flip that you don't do anything with.
So 2 of my properties I bought, my father-in-law sends out letters to people that are out-of-state owners of property here, and they hang on to his letters, and then he gets a call back a couple years later from a letter he sent a couple years ago.
I think he assigned one to me, didn't he? I thought so.
He's done 1 to Zach and 2 to me.
And then I assigned it to one of my investor clients.
Yeah.
So there's money to be made.
So
there's
it's-
deals still out there.
Yeah.
It was a big project. That was a big project. Really tons of
Not
termite
as bad
damage.
as
Do
the
you
one he
remember
just
that?
gave me.
Did
Yeah.
you ever go look at it?
Ferguson.
Ferguson, that's right.
I do
And
remember
I
that.
was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to deal with this. It's going to take too long. I don't like the big projects. And so I didn't make as much, but I didn't have to do anything, make quick cash,
Mhm.
you know, but to your point, you know, anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. He finds the nasty ones.
Yes, he does. But that's where the money's at. I mean,
It
that's where
is.
the opportunities are.
Yeah, the house up on Howard that I took you guys to see, he brought me that one, and it had a tree through the back of the house, and it had hoarders living in it, and it was mouse infested, and it was nasty. But what he did was he got a 6-month option to purchase contract on it. The lady lived in Colorado. She was at her wit's end. She didn't know how to get these tenants out. She was losing money every month. It was horrible. So he got the option to purchase contract, and we helped secure other housing for this family. And we spent the money for the movers to get them out of the house. And then we brought in the dumpsters, and then I closed on it. So I had a little bit of money a little bit of skin in the game, but I was not going to close on that property if I wasn't sure those people were out of it, because I did not want to inherit that mess. So that's how we did it. But within the 6-month option to purchase, he had the option and he had written permission from her to go ahead and proceed with these things. We couldn't have filed an eviction, but we helped them to find a new place to live. So there's creative ways to be a problem solver for people. And that was the point that they made at this property. She said, watch for the 4 Ds. Have you guys heard this one? The 4 Ds are, let me find it. There are always 4 Ds in every market: drugs, death, divorce, and distress. And those are the reasons that these landlords, a lot of them are accidental landlords. They inherited a property. They never intended on being a landlord, and they don't live in the area and they don't know what to do with it. Now they have this big mess going on. Some meth head is in there, or somebody is squatting, or somebody is. So if you can be a problem solver for them, then you have a chance of getting a property. And it ends up being a good thing for everybody. People need it. She said, people in these situations need a hero. So sometimes our mindset, like in the instance of, let's say, death, sometimes our mindset might be, well, I don't want to be an ambulance chaser. I don't want to be that person that goes after property because somebody died. We're not going after property. We're just offering the ability to have a solution available to that seller if they want it. And it's really all about our mindset and how we pitch it when we approach them. That we're willing to be a resource, we're willing to help be a problem solver. And a lot of times with an estate situation, they don't want to have to deal with it. They don't want to deal with all the crap that's in the house. Well, we have auction people. We can take care of that, you know? Heck, we could set up the auction, get the proceeds to them. The auction money, they take their money off the top, they send the check to the seller. We've solved a problem for them and they're willing to sell us the property then. So divorce, it happens, unfortunately. And sometimes with these situations, people wait, they put their head in the sand and they stop making their payments and they get to this place where they're like, maybe I can save it, maybe I can save it, maybe I can save it. And then they have 30 days or less to solve it before it goes
Yeah,
back to the
I
bank.
bought one a couple weeks ago in Nixa. That was the scenario. They've been in forbearance for like over a year or whatever, and it's all coming due. And he's an alcoholic. They're getting divorced, and they just wanted to like get the note paid off fast. And so yeah, I mean that hits on a lot of the D's. It's like 2 or 3 of them, but so it's being aware. And not just being a real estate agent, but taking that hat off and looking at it from like your investor point of view and going, is there an opportunity here that I should participate in versus selling it off to somebody else like me or, somebody on the MLS.
I mean, you could really be their hero. You're solving a problem for them. You're keeping them out of foreclosure. You're tying up their loose ends so they can move on and restart their life.
And getting paid well to do it. So
Yeah, I'll have to figure out where it was, and I'll tell you guys. There's an Instagram page that Wes sent me a post to. They were talking about the foreclosure bubble that they keep talking about, and one thing that's gonna help these people who maybe can't make their payment is that they can still make money on the sale of their house. So, like in Zach's case, he was talking about they just wanted to pay off the note. I don't know if you did that or got close to it, but in a lot of situations, I have a friend of mine, we're selling her house. She was 15 months behind on her payments because of a divorce situation. She's selling it, paying off her note, her interest, all the back payments, and still walking away with like 20 grand. So you're doing them a service, right? You're getting them out from underneath the cloud and they're making money. If that house was in a better area, somebody else could have made money on it as well. So the opportunities are out there, even in those cruddy situations.
And the other thing that really this whole thing emphasized to me was that real estate is a belly to belly industry. It is face to face. So unless we are out there talking to people and unless we are out there having these conversations, we may not even know of the opportunities. So pick your area, pick your neighborhood, drive it frequently. If you see somebody, there's a house that obviously the weeds have grown up high and people aren't taking really good care of it. And then you see somebody cutting the grass, go approach them. Go have that conversation, talk to them, find out like, is this your place? Are you doing the landscaping? What can you tell me about it? Linda said the way they got a really nice house in San Diego was they were on their walk and her and her hubby, and he had seen on, I don't know, he was probably using the KW app, but he had seen a property that had been listed before and now it was no longer for sale. And there was somebody out there taking care of it. So she walked up and approached the landscaper and said, hey, this place was for sale. Now it's not for sale. It doesn't look like it's sold. Would they still be willing to sell it? And he says, well, the owner lives out of state. I'm taking care of it for him, but he probably would. And they got a really nice beach house off market because of it. And I will never forget this statement, and you'll probably want to write this down. She said, I was bold because I already had a no. And by not asking, I was just going to get to keep that no. So the answer is no already because we didn't ask. But what if we ask and the answer is yes? Or what if we learn to ask the right questions? What could turn a no into a yes for somebody?
Gretzky, before I say that. Was that Gretzky? Thank you. Gretzky says you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So, I mean, if you don't ever ask for a yes, you never get a yes. If you don't ever shoot your shot, you never get. I mean, it's no different than a listing appointment. We're all okay with that, right? You're all okay with walking in a house and saying, let me sell your house. It's no different. It's just a different answer that you're looking for.
Also, once you have the clarity around what it is that you're personally looking for, when you're calling monthly and doing your client touches and you're calling your database, weave that into the conversation. Hey, by the way, I'm looking for an investment property. Do you know anybody that fits this description? If you're clear about what it is that you're looking for, something may ring a bell for them. So don't hesitate to ask your clients, friends, family. That can just be part of your client care call at the end after you've found out how they're doing and made sure they're taken care of, right? Okay, here was another thing. One of the gentlemen that talked about buying single family residences versus buying condos as investments. And he really stressed that for the beginning investor, condos are sometimes a really, really good investment. Even though there might be monthly HOA fees, when you think about some of your big ticket items when it comes to repairs on a single family residence, it's your roof and your windows and its exterior things. And when you're paying into a monthly HOA, your roof is part of the insurance, the exterior insurance is included in that monthly HOA bill. So all you're buying is an interior policy for the inside of it. So provided that the condo does not have any preclusions to renting it out, you want to do your due diligence on that. It may be a safer way for you to invest because you don't have that big expense at the beginning. And he was even saying if you end up accumulating several condos in one complex, that there are portfolio investors out there that are looking for opportunities like that. It's almost like having a 6-unit apartment building, even though you don't own the whole apartment building.
It was a retired couple. They lived in the condo years ago, and they were very intelligent years ago, and they bought the unit they lived in and then a few more, and then just kept buying not as many as they could, but kept buying one every so often, every year or so. Now I think they have 10 at the Airbnb, something like that. We were talking to them through like the Airbnb app, and they do nothing. They come and stay in them when they want to. They use them whenever they want to. It's on the beach in St. Augustine. Their off-season rates were like $300 a night, and they're booked. They were booked until like the beginning of October, and I'm sure we're booked since May. You have 10 of those running that kind of numbers, you're doing fine. But that's the niche that they wanted to be in, and their condo, I'm sure, takes 20-30% or whatever, but they're still in their niche that they love. And not to mention they have 10 beach houses they can go use whenever they want to. So not a bad, and they don't take care of it. I like that part of it the best.
Yeah, the neat thing about the Airbnbs is when you're figuring out your cash flow on them, management is a portion of that. And so as long as you have good management in place and a good cleaning crew in place and a good systems and checklists, you really shouldn't have to do very much other than approve or disapprove your request to stay. And then you just want to make sure you've got your Airbnb in an area where it's rentable. You and I really analyze the competition. If anybody wants to visit personally about that, I've been doing a lot of research on Airbnbs. So Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, you can delegate everything.
I didn't realize till I was there, and I was like,
Uh-huh.
collecting a check.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love the like personal messages.
Mm-hmm.
Your house is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it's definitely a good industry, and there are things that you can do to predict. There are models. So Tish was like, I'm gonna bake cookies and take them cookies. Yeah. And you can do that when you have one. And it's local. But you may love it.
You may only do it once.
That's the fun part. Yeah. That's the fun part. For us, like you, but it's all about what do you enjoy? What do you enjoy? Maybe you just.
Yeah, that's right.
So then here's the other thing. If you don't enjoy it, now you know someone who does, right? So if you say, I want the cash flow of an Airbnb, I like the number side of it. I do not want to have to worry about furnishing it and getting it ready. Y'all know somebody who's got a little side business going. She's already done it for one other person, totally furnished an Airbnb and got it up and running. So talk to Tish and see what she would charge you for it. Like there are ways around it. If it's not something you love, there is somebody who will love doing it. No. You got to do that part yourself. When you're a business owner, you want to do your due diligence yourself. You don't delegate the due diligence. So.
Yeah, that's an important part.
Mm-hmm.
That's the really hard part, getting.
Mm-hmm. Getting the permissions for it.
Mhm.
Or. Short-term leases for
I did.
nurses?
I had two but I sold them last year. Too much work. Too many emails, too many annoyances. So. Oh, nurses? We had nurses that would stay for 2 or 3 weeks at a time, but not 6 months or anything like that. I had Airbnbs is what I had. So I did not like that. You make good money. Like the return is much higher than a normal rental, but the amount of emails, calls. Yeah. And so at that point, I already had a big portfolio. And so it was like, and then I had these 2 Airbnbs that created like more work than the entire portfolio I had. And I'm like, so it was just a matter of like getting the annoyance out. It wasn't worth it to me at the time. Now, if I was starting out making what I was making on them, totally worth it. But then, over time, things change and what you want and all that. So for me, it just became more of an annoyance. I had something I was going to buy that was, at that time, there was something substantial that kind of came in front of me, and I was like really wanting to buy it. And then this was during the shutdown, so all of our bookings canceled. And so it was like the perfect time. It's like all of our bookings canceled. The market was crazy hot for the price point that they were in. And then I had something I kind of wanted to buy. So I just sold them real quick, did a 1031 exchange and into that. So that's why.
Yeah. So network with other agents. If you really want an Airbnb, talk to everybody who you know that already has them. Be like, if you're ever ready to offload that, give me a holler. I'm interested.
Yeah, I think at the time when I had him, like Wes was calling me. He had a client or maybe he was interested, but he called me before I was ready to sell him. It was like, hey, you want to sell him, And I'm like, no, I'm not really ready right now. But yeah, like Wes was doing it. He was calling me because he knew I had him and,
It is a little more labor intensive. It's just different. It's a different rental market.
Yeah.
And
oh, you don't have to.
Short-term rental, but over 31 days, you don't have to get the permits and the permission.
I had to do that, and it was really annoying. I had to pay I feel like it was $600 per house, and I had to go and then I had to go down to for the city. See, because we were running ours. Yeah, that's what it was for. We were already running ours. We were doing it when there was like only 20 houses in Springfield, and then it went to like 150 over 4 years. But the city was really difficult. They didn't really know what they were doing at the time, and And I had to go knock on everybody's doors and convince them to let me do what I need to do with my property, which I think is crazy, whatever.
Mm.
But we did get the approval. We had to hold it open one day for all the neighbors to come meet us. And I mean, it was really ridiculous, but we did it and we got it approved. But it was very annoying. That's like my word of the day. It was very annoying, but it was. So anyway, yeah. Just before you buy anything, if that's your intent, you better just make sure that you can get the approval first, or make your contract contingent on getting the approval.
Get the permission.
Yeah, it's got to qualify because there can't be one within a certain distance. So that only means it qualifies step 1. Step 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? That's
Mhm.
other stuff that you have to do
Yeah.
to get like the actual okay to do it.
Mhm.
There you go. Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah. And
just-
if you have a holdout, you already bought the property. So
That's
you always
right.
want a plan B.
Yeah.
If it can't be an Airbnb, what else am I going to do with it?
Exactly.
But like Tish said, with the Furnished Finder, if you're willing to furnish it, I think our traveling nurse traffic is going to increase here in Springfield, especially because now that Cox and Mercy are vaccine mandating, they're going to lose employees. There's quite a few that have been striking, quite a few that have been saying they're piecing out because they don't want the jab. So if that happens, they're going to be having to get fill in, which is going to be traveling nurses that are going to come from other places, and they're going to need a place to stay. And their contracts are usually 8 or 12 weeks.
Company that helps facilitate. They find the person. These traveling professionals go through Furnish Finders, and then they send us the names of the people, and then we work directly with them. We collect the rent. So Furnish Finders only helps us find that person. Then we take it from there. And it's usually 1 to 3 months that they would be renting. And it's a higher price point too. They have more money, their wages are higher, so they're able to sustain a higher rent.
So So Furnish Finder only charges $99. And basically, they just list your property on their site. And it's not just for traveling nurses, it's like traveling professors, people that are looking for a little bit longer of a rental. And so I was going to mention our backup plan, if you can't do a nightly rental and you're going to do a short term, so over 31 days, we had to agree and kind of decide, well, we're going to have that expense of furnishing it and going a little bit more than we had anticipated, I think, because we were planning on doing the Airbnb. And then it was like, well, backup plan is, there's always clients that need a place to stay in between closing. So now we have, a furnished 2-bed, 1-bath that somebody could use. And if it doesn't work out that way, then we pull our furniture, we put a long-term tenant in it, we use the furniture for another property. So a bunch of backup
Great
plans.
plans.
I went to the Clear Path to Financial Freedom breakout session in Mega Camp with Jay Papasan, and he also had a really nice ROI calculator, just an Excel spreadsheet that, like, I'm just starting out, right? So sometimes I don't know what I don't know, and there were some line items on there. He's like, "Did you consider like this fee or that?" And I'm like, "Oh, right, that is part of what actually counts as cash flow, because if you're paying those people, that's not money I'm actually getting." So is it really a good deal? And the whole session was really good. If you get a chance to go back and watch it, I haven't watched the Diamonds in the Rough one. I think I need to go back and watch that one with Linda McKissick, because that sounds great. But he had a lot of really great tools and resources where they were going for their investment properties and how they were calculating, what their financial goals were. So I thought that was really helpful too. If you're talking about getting clear on your intentions for what you're doing for investing, that might be a good one to check out.
So,
Clear Path to Financial Freedom. It was on at the same time as that
Yes.
Diamonds in the Rough one.
So on the Diamonds in the Rough, they mentioned if you want a really good calculator when you're analyzing a commercial deal or a multifamily deal, you can go to RPR. As realtors, we have access to that. And then instead of the residential, click the commercial button. And there's a ton of investment calculators available to us on there that can help you figure out cash on cash return, net operating income, all kinds of investment analysis tools that we have at our fingertips. And it's free to us because we're realtors.
On Tish's and Tim's house that I love so much, with our area that we're in, I suspect that we continue to see a lot of growth because the same reason that we see a lot of clients moving here, just individual clients, businesses will do the same thing. It's extremely cheap. It's extremely easy. First of all, you have 5 colleges in this town for some reason. I don't understand why. Quite honestly, it's cheap labor for them too, and easy to get a hold of people. So doing something like Furnish Finders, where, I mean, even a business setting up a new office, they need somebody for 3 months, here. My stepdad's done it plenty of times when they've set up new offices in, Nebraska or whatever. They're staying in a hotel for 6 weeks, and it is awful, and they hate it, and it is so expensive. So that avenue is something that's becoming more popular, and I see it staying like very high growth minded right now here in our area, at least, for sure. We're very protected in the Midwest, especially in Springfield, where we're driven by our colleges, we're driven by the hospitals and trucking. I mean, that's never shutting down, or it can't.
One of my philosophies with how I'm going investment wise is follow the money path. So where are the big companies coming to? Those are the areas that are positioned for growth. So Republic, Amazon. I'd love to get a multifamily in Republic. I mean, when you just look at where the money is coming to, that's where you want to be. The reason I chose my lake house down in Bella Vista, it's a tiny little place, but it's just north of Bentonville. And Walmart, they're pouring tons and tons and tons of money into the surrounding communities, and they're buying up the bike trails down there and expanding them and making them better. Well, anything the Waltons touch turns to gold. Johnny Morris, where's he putting his money? Down by Top of the Rock, down in Ozark, so just follow the people that know what they're doing, and you probably can't go wrong. That's my philosophy anyway.
Bad advice.
Following Zach, wherever Zach goes.
Oh.
Trying to think what else. Oh, the other thing they mentioned is if you're analyzing a multifamily and you're buying it from an existing investor, don't just trust the numbers they give you. They said if you look at a pro forma sheet, which is all their like incomes and expenses, and they have figures ending in 00, they are lying to you. Nothing ever ends in 00. So they're rounding up, they're rounding down. The other thing is, they give you a cap rate on these multifamilies. Are they giving you last year's expenses and projected income to make it look better? You want to make sure that the income and expenses are being analyzed at the same time. And then that cap rate is based on today's snapshot right now. It's not based on what it's going to do in the future. So you really want to take your time in doing your due diligence on all the numbers that they're giving you and getting back up, even if it's a small multifamily, and there may be, if you're buying from an accidental investor and somebody who inherited the property, they may not have the paper trail for you. So feel free, if you are analyzing a small multifamily deal and you want, hey, do these numbers make sense? Bring it to us, Zach especially, but if Zach's busy, I'll look at it.
I'm learning that it's different. It's just totally different, but
yeah,
I'm working on it.
Yeah,
If
bring
it's
it.
small, I can do it, but really big ones, I'm learning that. It's just a totally different deal.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Even on a house though, if you're buying the house and it's vacant and they say, well, I just had it rented for 800. It's like, okay, well, did they or did they not? You need to figure it out for yourself. Like, what am I going to be able to rent it for? is 800 reasonable? Or is it, there's no way in hell, you know? Or could I rent it for 950 and they're wrong? You have to look into that stuff yourself.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And basically, if you are figuring out what the highest and best use is for a property, this is where really money gets made. Somebody that wasn't using it for the right purpose, and now all of a sudden you're turning into its highest and best use for that particular area and location, you're going to get the upside of the value on that. Yeah. And then if a deal presents itself, then the goal is to how do I make that happen, you know? And don't just look at it and go, oh man, I wish. I went under contract on a property 2 weeks ago down in Ozark that's walking distance of the Finley River. It came on the market. I saw it. I went, oh man, that's exactly what I wanted, but I wasn't going to make another purchase for a year. And I have totally cash strapped. I don't have any cash left because all of it went into my Airbnb in Arkansas. I mean, I have a little money left, but I have to live. So it's like, and I'm like, oh man, I'm so sad I'm missing out on that. That's exactly what I wanted. So I picked up the phone and called my banker. And I said, I don't have the cash for the down payment. And he's like, well, do you have equity in other properties? And I said, yeah. He goes, well, I'll just attach a note to your other property for your down payment on this one. I said, you can do that? He goes, yeah. So, but if I wouldn't have asked, that opportunity just would have just like flown right by me. It is the A-frame in Ozark.
Hey, you two.
They had
Hey,
an
wait,
offer on it too.
Could it be for sale?
It is not for
Like,
sale.
what if somebody offered you 275? They just had to have it. Make a
So
quick 50 grand.
I'm excited to furnish it. Wes did.
I know.
You're gonna do that as like a nightly rental. I just might stay there.
It's going to be a nightly rental.
Nice.
It is. And Jessica Freeman's going to clean it for me.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. And I'm excited about it and a little bit nervous.
The one
They said they
the one
had-
that got away, huh?
Right. That was a heartbreaker. We were on our way over to go like do a second viewing and put in an offer, and Rick was like, sorry,
It's under contract. They had 8 offers in a matter of hours. Like it was just poof gone. The second I saw it, Rick Gardner on 4th Street. You can walk to McCracken Bridge, you can walk to Finley Farms.
I know where it is, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't see it though, or I probably would have tried to buy it too.
So but here's the story on that one. In my head, when you talk about like clarity of your vision, right? So after we finished our Airbnb in Arkansas, the thought in my head was I'm going to wait a year and then I'm going to buy another property. And the next house I buy is either going to be down by that Finley development in Ozark, or it's going to be a really cute A-frame somewhere.
and it's both.
And then that showed up and I went, oh, how am I going to make this happen? Like I have to have this house. So I went.
So how did you make
immediately.
it happen?
I wrote my contract for 225. It was listed at 200 and I waived my commission and I said as is with
No,
rights of
Rick.
inspections.
You know Rick, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure that helped. Relationship probably helped
Called
a little
Rick
bit.
and begged, but he was very professional. And he said, I would love to see you get it, Amy, but there are also several other KW agents. I want to keep it in the family, is how he put it. But he said, I can't tell you anything that's going to give you an advantage over another agent. So come in strong. It's multiple offers and give it your best shot. He handled it very professionally. You did. Go guess who I'm through the grapevine and I don't, this is off the record. Off the record. Do you hear me? Supposedly, Johnny Morris was one of the other buyers for the property.
Why didn't you call me, Kim?
Well, he wrote.
He's
he
probably
did.
cash strapped right now.
No,
He's like,
Rick
"Not
said
right
he
now,
was
I
one
have
of the
this."
8. he was one of the 8 offers and he was a cash buyer. I think he owns 4 on that road now. My guess is eventually he'll try and buy out that entire row. But he's buying the land to the north of it he owns, and he's putting 11 cabins on that. Like catty corner just to the north. Like, you know where there's that white building that's right up above the bridge? That land behind that is going to get 11 cabins on it. It's a 10-acre parcel. And then, oh, you got to go take it. It's going to be phenomenal. Anything he touches turns to gold. So it's. Mm-hmm. And they're doing classes like stand-up paddleboard classes and, you know, things that are just going to continue to draw people to the area.
Oh, it's great. I'm glad you got.
I mean, I love Ozark. It's so cute. But we'll see. We'll keep you posted on that. Y'all know somebody that's going to have an Airbnb there that you can go stay at now. So
Yep. You're on my list.
how are we doing on time? I'm not even watching it.
That's a good
We're
list,
over.
because I'll pay you my money. I'll pay you my money. to
I
stay
just
there.
realized I forgot.
We're-
Staying in Bentonville a month and a half.
You're not going to my house?
We're staying on the square.
Oh, okay.
It's our anniversary spot.
Okay. It's all good.
You said.
Well, you want to go there in the summertime when you can take the kayaks out. Yeah. All righty, guys. Anybody have any questions, concerns, anything they want to, we're already over time.
Very good.
Yes. If you have cash, pay cash for it, but you can get a credit line at a store and furnish it. If you don't have the cash, which is what I'm doing on this one. Like I said, leverage on this one. Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna hit stop.